exclusively provided for Cox Communications. It's local and only on Cox. The following is a public affairs presentation. Inside the Issues with your host, Jim Dunlap and Pat Hall.
Welcome to Inside the Issues. I'm Pat Hall, along with my co-host and business partner, Jim Dunlap, on our 14th year on Cox Communications, seen in the Oklahoma City and Tulsa metropolitan areas. Jim, I think we're getting close to the end of this session. It feels like the budget's getting done. It feels like people want to go home and campaign or just go home.
A lot of them are just going home this year. They're retiring early or they're terminated. But yeah, we're waiting for those famous Latin words, sine die, which means without day, and the legislature will adjourn. They're supposedly very close on a general appropriation budget measure, which would settle the budget out. The teachers' walkout is over with. But we've still got some cleanup to do from that issue because it really has dictated a lot of the middle of session and the end of session, and as we get ready for sine die, Pat.
Well, absolutely. There's residual out there. They're still looking at Department of Corrections, state employee, health insurance costs. I mean, there's still a lot of other little issues that are left. But today we have a special guest on Inside the Issues. He's been on before, and he's always been a great guest, and that's the state president of the AFL-CIO, Jimmy Curry. Longtime friend of both of ours, and we're just glad to have him on today. And our topics with President Curry are going to be the walkout. We want his impressions of it. The 2018 elections, I know AFL-CIO will be heavily involved, and also the status of organized labor in the state of Oklahoma.
On that third topic, Pat, is going to be interesting to me because organized labor has gone a lot from the private sector to the public sector, and that is part of what happened during the teacher walkout. The more public sector side of the union organization was part of the walkout. Yeah, Jimmy comes from or President Curry comes from the American Airlines side, who we represent also. So it's been very interesting to see the dynamics of union membership in Oklahoma change over the last 2 decades.
Yeah, actually, I think you're going to be surprised at the numbers. I think what President Curry is going to tell you is the growth has been in buildings and trades and in the private sector unions and not in the public sector.
Isn't that great?
It's just perception. I mean, that's because the public doesn't really look at the private sector buildings and trades, electricians. They don't look at the mechanics at American Airlines. They look at teachers, firefighters. They look at public employees.
But the things they look at that we look at the state government is benefits and packages and the expense of running the state. We're going to come back right after this short break on Inside the Issues to talk to President Curry about those issues. Please join us.
I was homecoming queen with one of my guys on the line, actually.
First day.
Talking about exposing government secrets.
Now, an Academy Award nominee for Best Picture.
The way they lied, those days have to be over.
The Post. Purchase movies and TV shows right from your remote. Download them to go and watch anywhere, anytime on your mobile devices. Start building your digital video library now.
Welcome back to Inside the Issues. I'm Pat Hall, along with Jim Dunlap, and our guest today is the president of the state AFL-CIO, Jim Curry, longtime friend, but we want to talk about the walkout, Mr. Curry. Welcome to Inside the Issues, first of all.
Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
Well, you know, I saw you out there almost every day. Jim and I were out there representing other clients. My wife and I walked on the first day, she representing state employees and me multiple different organizations as a longtime, I hope, friend of labor. But I saw not just AFT union teachers, I saw firefighters, I saw steel workers, I saw IBEW workers. So when people said it was just the public employees, I saw a lot of friends of public employees too.
You'd had to have been in my office the past 2 weeks. We were under siege. Basically, we provided a shuttle service from our office over to the Capitol, which is 4 blocks away. The Teamsters were ones driving. We had cookouts. The electricians cooked, I think it was 1,500 hot dogs. We had the city employees who were out there, but we also had building and trades come out to the actual the walkout outside the Capitol and participate, because one thing about it, work connects us all. So my guys and gals, they understand that. The teachers, though, it was something new to behold watching them walk out, because the week before I was actually at OEA headquarters. Now you think about 30,000 teachers, they've never been on strike, never walked out. The types of calls that they were getting at their headquarters, like, can I take vacation, or is my health insurance continue on? They were besieged with it. So I personally, whenever it started, I thought that the first day they'd be a bunch of, I did not even go out there on the opening day for that reason. I went out the second day thinking it would taper off. And if you were there the second day, it grew. And there was an intensity inside there that I didn't see the day before. So I was totally wrong. I thought it would go the first day and taper off. I never anticipated what happened.
I'm joining you. I made the same error.
Yes.
Well, I also noticed that with the construction going on at the Capitol, one of the workers on the Capitol teams out there is a labor movement member, and he wouldn't cross the picket line of the teachers to go do his job.
We got those calls back and forth. I got a call from a teacher that was married to a plumber. How dare the plumbers cross the picket line? And then I had some senator put on Facebook praising the steel workers for not crossing the picket line. Well, the steel workers are not construction. They're inside factories. It's the iron workers, and there are no iron workers on the building out there right now. About 80% of the workers are union out there, but that wasn't a strike. And that was the hard thing to get people to understand. A strike is, I'm leaving, I'm going off the job, I'm not going to get paid, I may not have my job when I come back, I don't have health insurance when I'm off, it's all cut off. This is the first time, and I've been in the labor movement 30 years, the employers told the employees to walk off.
Gave them the vehicles to get there.
Yes. I mean, the school boards and the school districts, not all of them, but the majority of them. So it's unheard of in a walkout that your employer walk out, and I'll pay you while you walk out.
I called it an organized protest. And the word organized ended up maybe not being the best description.
Yeah,
either.
and we were trying to not use the word strike for that reason, because you don't have a picket line if you don't have an actual strike. And that's why, no, I'm not crossing it, because the guy that set it up, he's out of work, and it's whatever the situations drove him to that point. But this was the teachers on their own. Interesting thing, being lobbyists, you know that April 15th, the state really doesn't know how much money they have until later in April. Originally, the leaders, the teachers' organizations had picked April 22nd as the. Social media has changed everything. It was a grassroots rank and file that pushed it to April 2nd. They didn't care deadlines or April 15th.
It almost kept it going.
Yes.
The social media side of it, I mean.
Yes. Well, and if you go out there, and we were out there this morning, they're packing the gallery every day out there. They're not outside tens of thousands like they were, but the house is full in that gallery every day. And
which is a couple hundred for those of you who have not been to the Capitol. It's a couple hundred people every day.
But that's highly
still impressive.
Unusual. Yes.
Yeah.
And do it every day.
Let me ask you this. I mean, I should have probably warned you this question's going to be coming. What would you have done different if you had total control of that whole thing?
It's funny you ask that, because I was on the outside.
Because that's the question I get more than anything
I
from
work
teachers.
for them, so I was not, I don't, regardless of what people may think, I don't tell them what to do.
Right.
I work for them. But the Step Up Oklahoma thing, the way that it all come about, they asked us, the AFL, to get on board weeks after they'd already put it out, and it was stumbling along. But I really think you have to go back to the governor. None of this would have happened without her vetoes back last fall. She was the one that started this. I have to give her credit, before I beat her up, but give her credit that she actually vetoed that.
Well, she called the special session to even start any of this.
Yes, absolutely.
I got to give her that credit for sure.
There's no doubt in my mind, but the teachers got part of what they wanted. And in negotiations, you never get everything you want. And I think they realized that, but the frustration that was pent up in them is unbelievable. And being on the ground.
It's still there.
The second day when I walked out, I'm walking out in a suit and tie, right?
They thought you were a legislator.
Oh my God. This one lady grabs me, almost grabs me by the suit and starts to tell me why she's here. And I had, for the first time in my life, I publicly, lady, I'm a lobbyist. You know, and it's like, but
it didn't have to take a shower.
Yeah. When I was walking out to the parking lot, the lines were 2 blocks long.
Right.
And they were all giving me the evil eye. I mean, I'm at suit and tie, and I was about a half a block down there. Look, folks, I'm not a legislator. I'm on your side. Yeah. And they, you know, but it was.
Well, it's interesting to bring it up because I stood in line with them two of the days that I was out there, and it was about 30 minutes for me to get in. And somebody said, "Couldn't you have gone around?" I said, "Yeah, I could have, but I don't deserve to be in that building any more than you do." I said, "You're as lobbyist for your own cause as I am too. We just do it a little different way." But it was interesting to hear the teachers talk, and what was said, what they don't know, they didn't know what they don't know out of the Capitol, because the Capitol runs on a different system than most anybody ever works in.
Yeah, and what I saw, and this is why they might be nervous in November. A lot of the Republican legislators didn't know how to react to it. Some did, some didn't, but a lot of them hid, closed their offices, wouldn't talk. The ones that got out there, I remember this one group, 3 or 4 teachers that stopped at our office and was going, I talked to my legislator, I went in there, I asked him 3 times, and he never would. He danced around, never would answer. And I'm like, welcome to my world.
Yeah,
exactly.
But they were seeing for themselves, and every one of them, in all the years in strikes, if you're going out on strike, you know, it withers away the longer you're out. I don't see that happening in this. I've never seen this kind of intensity in a group of people, and my God, if you saw the cars, they were like going to the 6A state football champion. All the windows were marked up. They have the best penmanship. They were courteous. There was
great signs.
Hilarious.
The best signs in the world.
There was one with this little kid. He was dressed up like a puppy, and he was trying to hammer the governor. Said, she's failing us, and I think she doesn't like little puppies. And I'm like, oh, I mean, they are so creative. And every one of them, you could tell that they brought their kids with them. They wanted to be back in the classroom, but they got drove to it. And, you know, over the past couple of years, they'd come in and have a rally and go home, and they'd cut taxes the next day or something.
Well, we're going to go to a short break on Inside the Issues, and we're going to come back and continue this conversation with President Jim Curry of the AFL-CIO.
This is the time of the year where I feel icky because I'm ready for it to start. I can smell the lights. I'm ready.
Every football game I would throw up before we take the field. I was always so amped up and so anxious for the game.
But you knew what to do, but it would get you ready for war in a lot of ways.
Your favorite young adult novels are coming to life with movies on demand from Cox.
How many more people do they have to round up? When does it stop?
It stops when we find a cure.
There is no cure!
The game is coming to its end.
Turn your weapons to the Capitol.
So, what's your story?
I was diagnosed when I was 13.
Your real story. So, Charlie, this is a party.
Welcome to the island of misfit toys.
The Young Adult Films Collection, now on demand.
Welcome back to Inside the Issues. Pat Hall, Jim Dunlap, and our guest today is the President of State AFL-CIO, President Jim Curry. Thanks again for joining us on Inside the Issues today. We were talking about the walkout. I think all 3 of us were talking about just the democracy, the enthusiasm, the signs. One of the greatest things I saw on the first day, my wife and I were marching and walking. We were walking with the state employees, and also I walked with the AFT members, the American Federation of Teachers members. But we looked over, and there was a professor from Edmond Memorial conducting an AP class on the front of the Capitol.
I saw that.
So it was the greatest sight I've ever seen. You had the teacher, still had the students there from the AP class teaching them. So, and we do have to give the credit to the Oklahoma Education Association for the logistics of it all. I mean, a lot of us said, what time's kickoff because of what you said, the tailgate atmosphere, but the amount of porta potties, the food trucks that were out, and a lot of credit to Department of Public Safety, and of course to the state employees that had to clean it all up.
Yeah, and if you talk to any of the teachers, the troopers were excellent out there. They were unbelievable friendly, and I was impressed at the way it all went down. I mean, you're right, logistically, my office on the Tuesday, I think it was the 3rd, we went through, and you've been to my office, a whole case of toilet paper. They actually,
because you had a bathroom.
Well, and actually blew one toilet out. We had to buy a whole new tank.
Well, they moved an army.
Yes.
I mean, any of us that ever served, I mean, it was moving a whole battalion. It was moving several battalions.
Not only that, it was local businesses. The snow cones guy, he was out there, they were all free. We cooked, they asked me to cook one night for the Tulsa teachers that had walked down over at the Capitol Hill. They were staying the night at the Capitol Stadium. And I can't pronounce the name of the local bakery, but we cooked fajitas. They donated, we called them and asked, you know, we needed so many pans of beans, rice, and fixins, if they could discount it. And he says, no, I can't discount it. I'm going to give it to you.
Oh.
I kept hearing stories like that all over, and it's unreal.
So let me be the Republican in this conversation for just a little bit.
Yeah, spoil our
because
party.
One of the mistakes I thought was it did become a tailgate party. It became more of a celebration of a protest or a demonstration without an agenda. And there's a perception game in politics that you have to win. And I think the teachers did not get the perception that they needed to get done in this walkout, in that they got a victory at the end, or that they still seem like they were upset with what the taxpayer sees as a pretty good victory for them and a substantial pay raise.
I would have to totally agree that the first raise of taxes in 30 years, unheard of.
Right.
That was a huge major victory. But the teachers have been up there and they're also watching that, oh, when it got over here, what we gave you, we're going to take this much of it back and switch around. And out there today on the wind energy tax credits, they're back out there.
Oh, we're going to be talking about this till the end of session.
Yes, exactly. So they claim victory, but not, as in, we know we don't trust them for next year. And the easy way, I heard one of them talk about, all you got to do is look at the Indian Museum.
Wow.
And I was like, ooh, you remember that. But about their pay. So what I see in the teachers, it ain't over by any stretch. They figured, yeah, we got this, but they're still fighting.
So that's a great segue. What impact will that walkout have on the November 2018 elections?
I don't know, and I'll be honest with you. You know, 2 years ago there was 200 teachers signing up, and it was a couple drops in the bucket. We're still looking. There's the challenges going on. Who all's in what race? It's mind-boggling that there are that many competitors races, and I think it's great for democracy. But how many of them got in and haven't a clue what it's like? You both run races, and so I don't know how many of these folks that have filed really know what it takes to run a campaign.
Well, last week we had Dr. Del Derby on, and he said it wasn't what he expected. He's leaving after one term. But for the first time ever, we're now going to have the starting base salary teacher at $36,601. A legislator's salary will be $35,021. So any teacher that runs for election to the State House or Senate will be taking a pay cut to serve in the legislature.
And they'll tell you they'll be working a whole hell of a lot less hours.
They will. Okay.
Agree, disagree on both that. Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's about the number of teachers that have filed. I think what you and I know how to do is GOTV, get out the vote. Are they going to be energized? Not those that filed, but the rest of them. Are they going to be energized to finally go to the polls and vote?
We'll see.
I know.
I mean, I think so, but I also thought that walkout was going to fall flat on its face, and it didn't. So I'm not a really good crystal ball reader.
We make a lot of predictions, and people
Nobody
say
listens.
nobody listens.
Actually,
And we're all
nobody
married.
remembers.
And we're all married, so
But I remember during 10-17, it was my freshman year there, and Pat was out there at the time.
That was before my time.
And so Steve Lewis was Speaker of the House, was the author of 10-17, ran for governor. 6 months later, got third in the Democrat primary. And teachers didn't go support him. So I'm going to say to the teachers out there, you better start delivering what you promised or what you threatened in November.
Once again, I cannot describe the look and the feel of these teachers. And majority of them are 30 years or younger.
Right.
But then it's hard. I have never seen it. It's why I can't describe it. I've never seen it before. So whether it plays out in November, whether these candidates are really going to be credible, or if just by golly, I had enough money to go down there and file, we'll see.
Well, let me ask the next question, kind of change the subject a little bit on you, President Curry. I was one of those bad Republicans, as my father-in-law and mother-in-law remind me, about right to work. Where's organized labor in Oklahoma today?
Actually, after its passage, it took a couple years for it to kick in, because the way it went, we couldn't negotiate a security clause into our contract. So if the contract was good for another 2 or 3 years, the security clause stayed in it. And then about that time, come 2008, 2009, and our numbers went down, same as the workforce numbers.
In the recession?
Yeah, it has hurt
Had nothing to do with right to work.
And it depends on which industry that you're actually in, whether right to work affected you. All the state, city employees, federal, they were already underneath it. Teachers are already underneath it. Firefighters are underneath it. It was mainly the industrial unions that it would hurt. One of the great ones that it hurt was the food and commercial workers at Homeland grocery stores. Because if you're a sack boy, that extra $20 means a lot to you,
Sure
but you don't realize you got health insurance for working there. But actually, our numbers are coming back up, and it's amazing. During this walkout, AFT is one of our affiliates. OEA is independent, and we work closely with them and always have. But the AFT represents the teachers in Oklahoma City. Last I heard, they had signed up over 90 new members.
Actually, I've heard it's a lot more than that.
Well, that was before the walkout. So,
yeah. Because I've been a loyal friend to you and to the AFL for a long time, I understand that it's a federation. I don't think our viewers really understand that you're the president of a federation of unions.
Correct. We have 3 different divisions, the building and trades, electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters. We have the largest pipe welding apprenticeship facility in the nation in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
We've been there.
Yes, and they do all the pipelines pretty much across the country. So you have the building and trades, and I have public employees, be firefighters, teachers, FAA centers, out at Tinker Air Force Base, and then we have the industrials. The Henrietta Glass plant makes your Budweiser beer bottles. I come out of American Airlines, so you have industrial, and there's different labor laws, but I'm elected every 4 years, just got reelected last fall, but we have an executive board, we have, and all the different sectors are represented on it.
So you really have to make a lot of different groups happy. Or hopefully not make them too mad.
There's no saying about it. We represent 220 local unions. Each one's a king in their own kingdom.
I agree.
Well, let me close this segment out of the show with you having as our guest. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate the civility we have between us, because we're out for one thing, the best what's for Oklahoma. And I know that's what you're out for too.
Absolutely. We may put our shoes and socks on different, but we all agree on the end game is we want our shoes and socks on.
Yeah.
You betcha.
It's about people working.
We'll be right back after this short break on Inside the Issues.
There could be a girl in the NFL, which that would be pretty amazing, but I mean, those guys are huge. Huge. So I mean, that girl has to be also huge. I'm pretty sure. Let's hope. I don't think anytime soon, but I'm pretty sure one of these days that a girl's gonna get in there.
Buy brand new movies instantly with the new Contour from Cox.
Peter Rabbit.
So good to see you. Get the family together.
When's the last time you brushed your tail?
It's gonna be a fun one. Because tonight is movie night.
Did you just wink at him? I didn't know you could do that.
Yes!
Peter Rabbit. Purchase movies and TV shows right from your remote. Download them to go and watch anywhere, anytime on your mobile devices. Start building your digital video library now.
Come on in and discover the new Cox Solutions store. Experience a whole new level of in-home comfort. It's all right here at the Cox Solutions store. Discover, learn, and experience more.
Watch the newest movies instantly with Movies on Demand from Cox.
This woman approached me out of nowhere. She wants me to find a passenger. Someone on this train's gonna kill him.
I can get to anyone, anywhere.
I'm done playing games.
The Commuter. Movies on Demand from Cox. Just go to Channel 1 and choose all new movies.
Welcome back to Inside the Issues. Pat Hall and Jim Dunlap. Our guest today was the president of the State AFL-CIO, Jim Curry. He did a great job. Kind of had some different observations of the walkout, and I think we all have the same final conclusion. We don't know what the next chapter looks like.
For us, we hope that the next chapter is a balanced budget, a budget that pays for the teacher's salary, a budget that funds education in the future, and a budget that can hopefully fund correctional officers and DHS employees and social workers. We hope that we finally have jumped over that hurdle. I noticed that the bond rating out of New York was very happy that we put a budget together with recurring revenue. They've raised our bond rating in Oklahoma. That's very important for Oklahomans, I promise you.
Well, you know, we didn't even talk about filing today. The most candidates to ever file for public office in the state of Oklahoma was just the recent filings. That includes judge races, district attorneys, state representatives, state senators, statewide officers, and federal. And it was amazing to me that the number of people that filed. In one race, we had 12 Republicans file for an open seat and 1 Democrat. So the Democrat will go straight to the general election. But what I wanted to talk about the budget that you and I have always said is so important, it looks like they're not going to use any one-time monies to fund this year's budget.
Well, and we talked about Mary Fallon Cole in a special session during this show. She also came into office with $2.69 in the rainy day fund.
Right.
She's going to leave with over $200 million in the rainy day fund. She's going to go out on a high note, and I'm very glad of that because she's a close personal friend. She's led the state during some very difficult times, and this walkout was part of it.
Yeah, she's been a friend of mine for 38 years, and we've always been civil with each other. We might not have always been agreed. We may have been on opposite sides of elections, but you know, I spent a lot of time just recently with her former chief of staff, Denise Northrup, talking about the budget, talking about issues, being civil, having a great conversation and a cup of coffee. That's the theme that we keep hearing on Inside the Issues, and that is civility. We have to get back to civility. I don't think you can teach it. I think you have to do it.
Well, we hope to do it a lot more on Inside the Issues, and we hope that you'll stay with us. As we go into the last few days at the 2018 legislative session, we're looking for those great words, sine die. We hope you'll be with us when we say goodbye for the final time on our 14th season here on the Cox Channel.
Yeah, and next week, our guest is going to be Mike Fina, the new executive director of the Oklahoma Municipal League. We'll see you next week on Inside the Issues. Have a great week.
Thank you for